What if the Bible we know, the one we cherish and study, is just a fragment of a larger, more intricate story? What if crucial details about creation, the patriarchs, even God's law itself have been missing for centuries? The Book of Jubilees, a hidden gem preserved within the Ethiopian Orthodox Bible, claims to fill these gaps, offering a cosmic perspective on the divine plan that few have ever encountered. But there's a mystery surrounding this ancient text. Banned from much of the Christian world, its 50 chapters remain shrouded in obscurity. Why? In this video, we'll uncover the secrets of the Book of Jubilees, also known as Little Genesis, and explore the controversial reasons it was excluded from the mainstream Bible. This isn't just a retelling of Genesis, it's a revelation of lost details, a cosmic tapestry woven with angels, heavenly timelines, and hidden commandments. Jubilees even challenges our understanding of time itself, insisting that the calendar most of the world follows is a distortion of God's sacred order. What secrets did this ancient text hold that proved too controversial for the early church? Join us as we unlock the mysteries and explore the astonishing claims of the Book of Jubilees. The Book of Jubilees doesn't simply recount creation. It unveils the divine architecture of time itself. According to Jubilees, God didn't just create life. He established the very structure of time, aligning it with His perfect will. This is where the concept of sacred time emerges. Unlike our conventional calendar, Jubilees introduces a precise solar calendar orchestrated by heavenly angels, governing the cosmic cycles of the universe. This isn't just about marking days, it's about living in harmony with God's divine rhythm. Jubilees claims humanity was meant to follow this divine calendar, 364 days, divided into 4 perfectly balanced seasons of 91 days each. This precise structure ensures that sacred days, like the Sabbath and festivals, always fall on their divinely appointed dates. A perfect system lost to the world. Genesis begins with the creation of earth, but Jubilees expands the canvas, revealing a pre-earthly drama. On the very first day, before the dawn of our world, angels were brought into being. These celestial beings play a pivotal role in the cosmic order, governing not just the seasons, but the very fabric of time itself. Jubilees reveals these angels were assigned specific duties by God. Some orchestrate the movements of the heavens, ensuring the celestial dance of sun, moon, and stars. Others serve as messengers, guardians of God's divine law, a concept echoed in other ancient texts. But Jubilees emphasizes their role in maintaining cosmic harmony, ensuring that creation adheres to its divine blueprint. These angels aren't just observers, they are active participants in the unfolding of time, ensuring the sun keeps its course, the seasons their rhythm. And this is where things get interesting. Jubilees warns that when humanity falls out of sync with God's time, chaos ensues. This theme of disruption, of disharmony caused by neglecting the divine order, resonates throughout the book. One of the most startling claims of Jubilees is its insistence on a solar calendar, not the lunar calendar, adopted by many ancient cultures, including the Israelites. Jubilees contends that the solar calendar, perfectly aligned with God's creation, is the only true measure of time. 364 days, 52 perfect weeks, each season a precise 13 weeks a system designed to ensure the Sabbath and sacred festivals are always honored on their appointed days. This calendar echoes the Ethiopian calendar, still used by the Ethiopian Orthodox Church today, a potential link to this ancient wisdom. The lunar calendar, with its shifting months and festivals, is seen as a corruption of the divine order. Jubilees warns that this deviation leads to spiritual disarray, a form of disobedience to God's will. By returning to the solar calendar, Jubilees suggests humanity can realign itself with the divine rhythm of creation. Jubilees expands on the Genesis creation narrative, focusing on the sanctity of the Sabbath. God didn't just rest, He sanctified the seventh day, establishing it as an eternal law, binding for both humanity and angels. The Sabbath is presented as the very foundation of time, a day set apart from the beginning, a principle woven into the fabric of creation itself, connected even to the grand Jubilee cycles of 49 years. These cycles offer a time of rest, release, and renewal, a return to harmony with God's order, not just for humanity, but for all of creation, including the angelic realm. Jubilees adds a fascinating detail to the story of Adam, specific commandments given right from the start. Not just the familiar prohibitions, but laws encompassing the Sabbath, purity, marriage, and worship. These divine instructions, delivered by angels, were the foundation of God's covenant with humanity. While Genesis highlights God's direct interaction with Adam, Jubilees introduces angelic mediators, instructors in the ways of God. These angels, particularly the angels of the presence, ensured Adam and Eve understood the laws of holiness, sacrifice, and righteous living. This angelic involvement reinforces the idea that God's law isn't a human invention, but a reflection of the heavenly order, an eternal covenant to be observed by all. Could it be that many of the laws we associate with Moses were actually given to humanity much earlier, passed down through angelic messengers? A fascinating question to ponder. Jubilees offers a deeper look into the story of Cain and Abel. Cain's act of murder isn't just a tragic event. It's the first catastrophic breach of God's law, a sin with far-reaching consequences. While Cain is exiled, Jubilees highlights the continuation of the righteous line through Seth, Adam's third son, who faithfully follows the angelically delivered laws, paving the way for future generations, including Noah, to uphold the covenant with God. The story of Noah and the flood takes on new dimensions in Jubilees. The focus isn't just survival, but the covenant established afterward, a covenant emphasizing purity, righteousness, and obedience. Before the flood, Jubilees delves into the depths of the world's corruption, highlighting the Nephilim, the offspring of fallen angels, and human women. These giants, mentioned briefly in Genesis, are portrayed in Jubilees as key contributors to the wickedness that engulfed the earth. This moral decay wasn't just human in origin. It stemmed from the corrupting influence of fallen angels who introduced forbidden knowledge, twisting the natural order. God's response: the flood was a cleansing fire, a purging of corruption. But Noah and his family, beacons of righteousness, were spared. After the flood, God didn't just promise to refrain from another deluge. He established a renewed covenant with Noah, including specific laws of purity and sacrifice. These laws, later passed down to Israel, were meant to safeguard humanity from repeating the mistakes of the past. Noah, like Adam before him, was instructed to observe the Sabbath and follow the divine laws of sacrifice and purity. This covenant marked a new beginning, a fresh start for humanity, but it also underscored the crucial importance of obedience to avert future judgment. Genesis introduces Abraham when God calls him to leave his homeland and journey to Canaan. But Jubilees takes us further back, revealing a pivotal moment in Abraham's youth. He grew up surrounded by idolatry. His father, Terah, a worshiper of false gods. This detail, absent in Genesis, paints a vivid picture of a young Abraham rejecting the pagan practices of his family, choosing instead to follow the one true God. Jubilees portrays Abraham not just as obedient, but as a revolutionary, a spiritual rebel who destroys the idols in his father's house, a bold stand against the prevailing darkness. This act of defiance foreshadows his future role as the father of a nation chosen to turn away from idolatry and embrace the divine law. One of the most striking differences between Genesis and Jubilees is the portrayal of Abraham's relationship with the law. Genesis focuses on Abraham's faith journey, his obedience to God's call. But Jubilees reveals that Abraham observed divine laws long before Moses. He kept the Sabbath, offered sacrifices, and followed commandments typically associated with the Mosaic Law. According to Jubilees, these weren't new laws. They were ancient precepts, passed down from Adam through angelic messengers. Abraham received these commandments directly from angels, a vital part of his covenant with God. He wasn't just a man of faith. He was a keeper of the divine law, a law inscribed on heavenly tablets, a law governing both heaven and earth. The covenant of circumcision, a pivotal moment in Genesis 17, takes on deeper meaning in Jubilees. God's command to Abraham wasn't just a symbolic act. It was the enactment of a cosmic law etched onto the heavenly tablets themselves, God's blueprint for creation. This wasn't just a sign for Abraham's descendants. It was an eternal ordinance, a divine decree resonating through time. The story of the binding of Isaac, known as the Akedah, is a powerful testament to Abraham's faith in Genesis 22. Jubilees adds a layer of spiritual intrigue, portraying this test not just as its 12 sons, the future heads of the 12 tribes of Israel. Jubilees adds a layer of divine order, revealing that the timing and sequence of their births were preordained by God, aligned with the sacred calendar. Each son's birth was a precisely timed event, a piece of the larger cosmic puzzle. Their destinies weren't just determined by human relationships. They were inscribed on the heavenly tablets, woven into God's eternal plan for the world. Reuben's sin and loss of his birthright in Genesis 35 takes on a deeper significance in Jubilees. It's not just a personal failure, it's a violation of divine law, a transgression with far-reaching consequences. This act disqualifies Reuben from leadership, paving the way for Judah to rise as the tribal leader and Levi to assume the priestly role, a shift in destiny ordained by God's eternal plan. This realignment wasn't a consequence of human error. It was part of the divine blueprint, connecting Judah and Levi's destinies to the larger spiritual framework of Israel's future. The Levitical priesthood, established in Exodus 28, finds its roots in the eternal mandate of Jubilees. Levi's priestly role wasn't just a tribal duty, it was a divine calling, inscribed on the heavenly tablets long before Moses. Levi was chosen by God, set apart as a spiritual leader, responsible for upholding the divine law, a mediator between heaven and earth. His priesthood was a cornerstone of the cosmic order, a vital link between the human and the divine. While Genesis tells us that Jacob's sons became the heads of the 12 tribes, Jubilees reveals a deeper purpose. They weren't just inheritors of land, they were guardians of God's law. Each tribe carried a specific spiritual responsibility, charged with upholding the divine commandments passed down through the generations. They were stewards of the covenant, ensuring that God's law, etched on the heavenly tablets, would be preserved and honored. The story of Joseph's brothers selling him into slavery in Genesis 37 takes a darker turn in Jubilees. It's not just sibling rivalry, it's a profound transgression against the divine order, a sin with cosmic implications. The brothers are warned of divine judgment unless they repent Their betrayal wasn't just a personal failing. It was a violation of eternal law, a disruption of God's plan, inscribed on the heavenly tablets. This act had far-reaching consequences, linking their betrayal to the future suffering of Israel in Egypt. Joseph's rise to power in Egypt, often attributed to his wisdom and dream interpretation in Genesis 41, is portrayed in Jubilees as a divinely orchestrated event, a key piece of the cosmic puzzle. His success wasn't just about his abilities. It was about God's predetermined plan to save the Israelites. Joseph's destiny was to bring his family to Egypt, setting the stage for both their enslavement and their miraculous deliverance. His rise wasn't luck, it was destiny, written on the heavenly tablets, a pivotal moment in God's unfolding plan. Jubilees enriches Joseph's story with the active presence of angels. While Genesis highlights Joseph's connection to God through dreams, Jubilees reveals angelic guardians, divinely appointed to watch over him, ensuring his safety and guiding him along his predestined path. These angels intervened at crucial moments, protecting Joseph and ensuring he remained faithful to God, a testament to the IAM's unwavering care and meticulous orchestration of events. Joseph's story in Jubilees isn't just about his personal journey. It's a prophetic foreshadowing of Israel's destiny. His rise to power wasn't just about rescuing his family from famine. It was a crucial step towards the Exodus. Joseph, according to Jubilees, understood the future enslavement of his descendants and played a role in preparing them for their eventual deliverance. His life wasn't just a historical event. It was a prophetic enactment of God's redemptive plan, a plan etched on the heavenly tablets, a plan moving inexorably towards the Exodus. While Exodus describes Israel's enslavement as a consequence of a new Pharaoh who knew not Joseph, Jubilees frames it as the fulfillment of a cosmic prophecy inscribed on the heavenly tablets long before. This bondage wasn't just a historical accident. It was a divinely ordained trial, a necessary step in God's plan to reveal his power and establish his covenant with Israel. Their suffering in Egypt wasn't meaningless. It was a crucible, forging their identity and preparing them for the revelation of the law at Mount Sinai. The plagues of Egypt in Exodus, a dramatic display of God's power, take on a deeper meaning in Jubilees. They weren't just punishments, they were symbolic victories in a cosmic battle. Each plague targeted a specific Egyptian deity, demonstrating the IAM's absolute sovereignty over the false gods and the spiritual forces behind them. These plagues were not just about freeing the Israelites. They were about dismantling the power of darkness, a cosmic showdown between the one true God and the counterfeit deities of Egypt. Jubilees even suggests that Mastema, a figure of evil, actively worked to harden Pharaoh's heart, intensifying Israel's suffering and testing their faith. But at every turn, God's power triumphed, revealing his unwavering commitment to his chosen people. The giving of the law at Mount Sinai, a pivotal moment in Exodus, is reframed in Jubilees. The law wasn't created at Sinai, it was revealed. Inscribed on the heavenly tablets from the beginning of time, these eternal commandments served as a blueprint for both angels and humans. Moses wasn't the author of the law. He was the messenger, entrusted with delivering these preordained decrees to Israel. The Mosaic Law wasn't a new invention. It was a restoration of the divine order, a re-establishment of the eternal covenant. One of Jubilees' most fascinating claims is that the Mosaic Law, often viewed as a revelation unique to Moses, was observed long before Sinai. The patriarchs Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob weren't just righteous men. They were keepers of the law, observing the Sabbath, offering sacrifices, and following precepts typically associated with Moses. This reframes the Mosaic Law not as a new development, but as a restoration of the primordial, angelically delivered commandments, a return to the divine blueprint for human life. Abraham, for example, is depicted keeping the Sabbath and dietary laws long before they were formally given to Israel, highlighting the timelessness of God's law and the patriarch's intimate connection with the divine order. Jubilees elevates the cosmic calendar to a central place in the Mosaic Law. The observance of sacred times, Sabbaths, festivals, Jubilee years isn't just ritual. It's an act of aligning oneself with the divine rhythm of the universe, a principle inscribed on the heavenly tablets. Based, the solar calendar, with its 364-day year and perfectly balanced seasons, is presented as the true reflection of God's order, while deviations from this calendar are seen as a path to spiritual chaos. The laws of timekeeping and Jubilees aren't just about marking days. They are about maintaining harmony with the Creator, ensuring that human life resonates with the celestial symphony of creation. While the Mosaic Law is often considered specific to Israel, Jubilees expands its scope, presenting it as an eternal law, binding not just for one nation, but for all generations, for all of creation, even the angels themselves. These commandments, etched on the heavenly tablets, are not temporary guidelines. They are the immutable principles governing the universe. Angels, too, are depicted observing the Sabbath and festivals, highlighting the universality of God's law and the interconnectedness of the heavenly and earthly realms. The Mosaic Law in Jubilees isn't just a covenant with Israel. It's a cosmic constitution, a reflection of the divine order that permeates all of creation. Jubilees offers a prophetic vision of Israel's future, a destiny not left to chance, but meticulously outlined on the heavenly tablets. This divine timeline charts the rise and fall of nations, the exile and eventual restoration of Israel, the ultimate judgment of the world. Everything, from creation to the final act, unfolds according to God's preordained schedule. Israel's exile and suffering weren't random events. They were divinely appointed trials, necessary steps in God's redemptive plan, preparing them for a future restoration, a spiritual renewal aligned with the cosmic calendar. Angels, prominent throughout Jubilees, play a particularly crucial role in the end times. They are God's agents of judgment, ensuring His will is carried out on both earth and in heaven. As the final days approach, angels will descend, separating the righteous from the wicked, gathering God's faithful. Mastima, the embodiment of evil, will be bound and cast into the abyss, a symbolic victory of light over darkness. This angelic involvement adds a layer of spiritual warfare to the apocalyptic narrative, emphasizing the cosmic battle between good and evil that culminates in the final judgment. Jubilee's vision of Israel's redemption isn't just a return to their land. It's a spiritual rebirth, a restoration of the covenant, a time of purification and rededication to God's law. This renewal, foretold on the heavenly tablets, will prepare Israel for the coming of the Messiah and the establishment of God's kingdom on earth. It's a vision of hope, of a future where righteousness reigns and God's will is done on earth as it is in heaven. In the end times, a messianic kingdom will arise, ushering in an era of peace and justice. This kingdom, ruled by God's chosen one, marks the end of the present age and the beginning of God's eternal reign. The law, no longer written on stone tablets, will be inscribed on human hearts. The final judgment will separate the righteous, who will inherit the earth, from the wicked, who will face eternal destruction. Mastima and his forces will be vanquished, and the Messiah will reign in perfect harmony with God's divine order. This apocalyptic vision aligns with the imagery of Revelation, but Jubilees emphasizes the restoration of the cosmic order, the triumph of God's law as the foundation of the new creation. So, why was this book, with its fascinating insights and cosmic perspective, excluded from the mainstream Bible? Several factors likely contributed to its exclusion. Its emphasis on a solar calendar clashed with the lunar calendar adopted by much of the early church. Its detailed accounts of angelic involvement and its portrayal of the law as pre-existing Moses may have been seen as challenging traditional interpretations. Furthermore, certain interpretations within Jubilees, particularly regarding specific laws and practices, didn't align with the developing doctrines of the early church. Whatever the reasons, the Book of Jubilees offers a unique and compelling perspective on the biblical narrative, a window into an ancient understanding of God's cosmic plan and humanity's place within it. If this exploration of Jubilees has sparked your curiosity, if you're intrigued by its hidden stories and cosmic vision, share this video with others who are seeking a deeper understanding of God's Word. By sharing, you help us continue uncovering these ancient treasures and revealing the hidden layers of the divine plan. Don't forget to like and subscribe to Discipleship Biblical Narratives and join the conversation in the comments. Together, we can delve even deeper into these fascinating biblical insights.